All right, you idiots asked for it. I promised it. I'm going to be telling you the story about the time I was a kidnapper. Now, here's the thing. I have good news and I got bad news. The good news is that I'm telling the story so you finally get to hear it. The bad news is the fact that Chapter 7 of Past Trapped is not going to be coming out this week. It'll probably be next week. The problem is that it is the most in-depth scripted episode I've ever worked on, hopefully. So if I get to do what I want to do, it'll take like 2 weeks to produce this. And I've also been kind of procrastinating in the sense that I have not actually started on it yet. But it's okay. We'll get there eventually because I quit my job for this. So, I'm making really good life decisions. So I want to tell you the story of the time I was a kidnapper as kind of a consolation prize of the fact that you're going to be missing out on a Past Trapped episode this week. Now, here's the thing. I have to preface this story with a few things. One, if it ever sounds like someone's getting waterboarded in the background, don't worry, it's not the slaves we have locked in the basement. It's just me taking a drink out of my water bottle. Two, why do I just really have the instance to scream right now? Like, I took a deep breath and now I really want to scream. Just like, ah! Sorry, ADHD kicked in. Right, so that's preface number one. Preface number two is the fact that I have to give a lot of backstory for this. Otherwise, it's not going to make any sense. Because if I tell you the actual story, one, it's going to be a 2-minute story and that's no fun for anyone. And two, you're not going to get any of the information. So, the first thing you're going to have to know before I can tell you this story is that it occurred at a kid's place. Because I worked at a place out in Oregon, like I live in Oregon, so I live in like the Gresham area or Portland area. I have to go all the way out to Sandy to go to this kid's place where I used to work. And you might be wondering, well, Chris, what does it mean to work at a kid's place? Well, I worked at a kid's jungle gym, and what it means to work there is essentially my job was to make sure that Darwinism and survival of the fittest did not occur. In other words, it was my job to keep dumb kids alive. Now, that's a slight oversimplification, but go with me on this one. If I weren't protecting the children, they would do dumb stuff and therefore die. So, theoretically, my main job was to make sure that dumb kids lived. But that's me getting ahead of myself and kind of oversimplifying it a tiny bit. So, yeah, I had basically two primary jobs. Make sure small children don't kill each other, which is harder than it sounds. And then two, be a party host, which basically just means my job was to make sure that parties that were going on and birthdays and stuff all happened smoothly without having like any major problems. So, it was fun. But that's not really important to the story. What is important to the story is the fact that I worked at this place. Now, here's the thing. Hang on, I have to sneeze. This is very, oh my gosh, this is really bad. This is very professional. Okay, man, that was gross. Okay, I'm probably not going to keep that in. It's okay. I'm not spreading corona to any of you because I'm locked in the basement of my house, which is where my parents keep me because no one can hear me scream. I'm a very, very bad child. Anyway, story time. Now, I'm one of those people that I actually didn't hate my job because I am blessed with the kind of mentality that I love being around kids. I've always loved being around kids for as long as I can remember because they're just, okay, so I get it. Some people think kids are just smelly, gross, disrespectful, and stupid. You're not wrong. But here's the thing. Children also provide an unlimited source of constant comedic effect. They're comic relief for life. So even on the worst days, I got to go to work and have the therapeutic experiences of watching children do dumb stuff and fall flat on their face and start screaming about things. It was hilarious. Which makes me sound like a terrible person. Probably because I am. So I'm not going to try to rebuttal that in any way, shape, or form. Because, yeah, I just accept it. I can be a really terrible person. But it's okay because none of you are allowed to judge me. And if you do judge me, it'll be silently because I can't hear you unless you type it in the comments. And most of you are probably way too lazy to do that. So here we are. So I worked at a kid's place. My job was to make sure kids didn't kill each other. Now, okay, like I said, the kidnapping story, I will tell that at the end, I think, because it's only like a 3-minute story. So I'm going to preface that with another story that also occurred at work. So we're going to just have a theme of all the really dumb stuff that happened to me at work. So, let's see. I got to working at this place, and my first week there, I actually had an experience that made me go, do I really want to do this? And the answer was probably no, because, so there is this thing that occurred where at this place, I really want to say the name, but I'm not going to say the name. I don't know why I don't say it, but yeah, anyway, at this place where I worked at my job, at this jungle gym, we had like inflatables, so kind of like, not Chuck E. Cheese. Why am I thinking Chuck E. Cheese? It's not like Chuck E. Cheese at all. JJ Jump, right. So it's kind of like, we have inflatables kind of like JJ Jump, and then we have like the Safari Sam style jungle gyms, right? But we also had this little trampoline. What the heck was that noise? I think that was the dog. That was terrifying. Okay, anyway. Oh, yep, it's the dog. Here she comes. She's coming down into the basement. Hi, Sam! I'm very professional. Okay, anyway. So at this work, we had a jungle gym. No, jungle gym. Trampoline. We had a trampoline that was like an 8-foot by 8-foot square, right? And The rule was that you had 2 kids in there at a time. That doesn't matter for the story at all. What does matter is that at my first week there was this kid who was probably between the ages of 2 and 4. Like, he's old enough to be off diapers, but not old enough that he's on underwear yet. And you'll understand why I know that in a minute. Oh, that sounds really bad, actually. You know what? It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm sure I won't get, like, a convicted felon or anything. It's fine. So, there's this kid who is jumping on the trampoline. He's, like, I'm going to say 3. So, this 3-year-old is bounding up and down on the trampoline. And he's doing his thing. The problem is that this small genius had a slight wardrobe malfunction in the sense that his trousers just drop down to his ankles while he's jumping. Now, I don't know about you, but personally, if this exact situation had happened to me, my personal fix for such a problem would be to just, take the pants and pull them back up. But that's not what the child did. Because here's the thing. I think this kid was on a whole nother level. Now, in the moment, I thought he was an idiot. But looking back on it, I think this kid was a genius. Because in that moment, when his pants fell down, he had an epiphany, right? He just understood instantly. He became a physics genius. And he understood that the pants he was wearing were baggy, and therefore caused wind drag as he's trying to jump. But they also added weight to him, also making it so that he had wind drag, so he couldn't jump as high, but he also had weight, so his little legs couldn't carry him high up into the stratosphere like he wanted to go. So this kid looks down, realizes this, and all in an instant, and he makes a split-second decision. I can fix this problem of having this extra weight by removing my pants entirely. Which is not what he did, because instead, since his pants were already down, this kid just decided that his underwear was also too much weight. So he just takes his pull-ups and just flicks them right down around his ankles. Now, I, being let's see, how old was I? 16? That is not something I signed up to see. So out of the corner of my eye, I see that go down, and I immediately just, look literally anywhere else, and I'm just, scanning the horizon for any hope in the universe at this point. And I'm just, I have, my hands up on my side so that there's no chance that I'm catching any glimpse of this. And then, of course, there's, a parent who comes over, and she's just like, "Oh my gosh, Timmy, what are you doing?" I have no idea if that actually happened or not. This might be me embellishing. But the part of the kid in his underwear, that definitely happened. But I'm just like, what? But now, looking back on it again, I think this kid was an absolute genius. He just ran all those calculations in his head instantaneously. Kid's an absolute genius. He'll be like an Elon Musk someday. I'm sure Elon Musk did that when he was a kid, too. It's fine. Don't worry about it. So that was something that happened at work. Now, like I said at the beginning of this video, I'm one of those people that think children are hilarious. And if you haven't talked to a child for an extended period of time, you won't hold that view. But if you do listen to those snotty-nosed little children for a while, you will start to hear the most hilarious things. And as me, someone who, I've suffered from depression, and so hearing kids say dumb stuff, very therapeutic. I thought it was amazing. And so, and these kids, truly absolute geniuses. You know how, just some kids aren't as smart as others. I'm not going to be mean. No, I'm going to be mean. So, some kids are just absolutely stupid, and it's hilarious. So, there are these times where these kids don't kind of understand things, and they ask questions that have such obvious answers. And for some reason, I find that hilarious. And so part of this is that at this place, there was the jungle gym had more than one layer. There was 3 layers. The problem is that I'm a 6'2", I'm not going to say behemoth, because I'm basically a toothpick, a tall toothpick. I have no, meat on my bones. I'm just a skinny. Okay, my brother calls me tall skinny, so that's basically. Anyway, that doesn't matter. Well, it does matter. So, what was I going with this? Right. I'm sorry. ADHD's kicking in a little bit. Hang on, I need to drink some water. Okay, I'm dying. It's just, don't worry. It's just Corona. There we go. All right, that's very professional. Good job, Chris. Okay. Oh, that was a burp. Yep, we're keeping that in because I am professional. So. I'm 6'2". That is something you have to know. Well, 6'2", 6 foot. Anyway, around there. I'm tall. Basically, that's the point. I am a tall-ish individual. And so, somehow, the people at my work, and I'm by far the tallest person at my work, which led to all kinds of hijinks. But basically, at this point, they were like, "Hey, Chris, we need you to go check up in the play structure." And I'm like, hold up. That play structure literally is I don't know, maybe 3 feet high, 3 feet tall, maybe 3.5 feet. Either way, if I'm going up into the play structure, I'm bending myself in half to get up there, which is not super comfortable. To my credit, though, I am the fastest person to go through the Like, as far as going through the play structure, I'm the fastest person by far because I just bound around the place like a troglodyte, and it's hilarious. It's really weird to see because I kind of have to do that crouching thing, and then I look like a chimpanzee where I have like the really long arms and then I have like really short little legs. But anyway, that doesn't matter. But so I go up into the play structure and I crawl up these stairs, which, yeah, they're normal stairs basically. And I get to the top, and there's this kid, and this absolute genius, stroking his chin, looks at me and he goes, well, how did you get up here? Because he walks over, and he just says that. He goes, so how did you get up here? And I look at him, and I'm literally at the top of the stairs. So I look back down the stairs. I look at the kid. I look back down the stairs. I look at him. And I just go, how did you get up here? And he just looks at me and goes, well, I use the stairs. And I'm sitting here going, dang it, why didn't I think of that? Here I am using all my very special teleportation powers to get up the stairs. Because this kid looks at me, and for some reason, he didn't think I was capable of using the stairs. Because this kid sees the art of going upstairs as a form of archaic magic that somehow I, being over the age of 15, somehow am just not capable of comprehending nor committing. And so he just looks at me and goes, so how did you get up here? I'm just like, I use the stairs. And he looks at me and goes, well, that doesn't make sense. And I'm just like, hang on, I'm going to scream again. What? Okay, that was fun. But yeah, so I'm just like, what? But anyway, so that was like, I love kids because they say the darndest things, and it's hilarious every time. But again, that has literally nothing to do with the story of the kidnapping. But that was just one of those things that happened that was pretty funny. Because, yeah, I don't know. It was a really interesting job, honestly, because I got into a lot of situations where it was like, this is like, just kids say the weirdest things. Now, if you've never been in a battle of wits with an 8-year-old, it is not a hard fight to win by normal standards. However, if you're going, like, because they apparently set the rules in their universe, they can just say whatever they want. It makes 0 sense, and you're just like, okay, sure. Which, some of these kids, I love the fact that their self-preservation instinct was very low. Like, very, very, very low. And I got to see a lot of different things play out that I was just like, man, I never thought I'd be able to see this in a natural setting without it being on, like, a television show or something. So, the first thing that I thought was really funny was something happened where there were these two brothers. And they're, let's set the age range. They're probably between, like, 6 and 8, somewhere around there. And you can tell which one is older based on the fact that he's about to use his younger brother as a guinea pig. Because I see these two siblings, and we have a punching bag at work, which I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. Because essentially it's just a giant wrecking ball that you can shove into other children and knock them over with. So I walk over to the punching bag, and this kid is holding it up with all his might above his head. Okay, so he was probably like 6 and 5. But anyway, it was an older brother and a younger brother. The older brother had lifted up the punching bag, was holding it above his head, and his younger brother was standing across from him within striking distance, and he just goes, okay, now we'll try, and he lets it drop. And the punching bag swings forward, and I literally lunged forward and, like, put my arm out and stopped it. But I was just like, bruh, what? How did you think that was a good idea? I don't think the younger brother thought this through at all, which I understand, because when I was younger, whatever my older brother told me to do, I did it without thinking, because, well, of course we're brothers. He just won't do anything that would harm me, which that was hilariously not true. Anyway, but so I just love seeing that play out, where it was like the younger brother decided that was a good idea and was willing to get smacked full in the face by a pretty heavy punching bag. So that was kind of fun. I realized again that I'm going on tangents, but don't worry, I'll get to the kidnapping story in a minute. Just give me like 5 minutes, and then I'll tell the story. That was one thing that happened. There are also some kids that came to this work. So I basically worked there for 1.5 years, and I got to the point where I would recognize the regulars, and they would recognize me. And so some kids would be there and be like, "Oh, look, it's Chris," and it's like, "Oh, hi guys." But there was one group of kids that the first time they came in, They wanted to play a game that they referred to as Kick the Buddy. And I'm just like, first of all, how do you come up with such a fantastic name? Please do tell me. That's just on a whole nother level. And the second thing is that the details of the game, basically they thought it was a good idea to swing on the monkey bars and literally try to kick each other in the face. So we have the monkey bars were the type that were like kind of swinging pendulums, and so it wasn't just like bars, it was like these little like handholds that were hung on by like, what am I thinking of, like fabric or something. They were hanging, but they were like on cloth, and so they could like swing from side to side. Anyway, so these kids decided it'd be a good idea to hold themselves up on that and then jump and swing forward and try to kick each other. Which I was just like, I don't know what you're... Yeah, anyway, that's not actually really important to any kind of story, but I just know... I don't know. Most of the things that happened at work I want to talk about, but they're just so random that it sounds really weird if I just randomly start talking about it, but I don't really have another choice, so that's what I did, and so... Yeah. Right, so, kidnapping story. Let me finally get to the bread and butter of that. So, the kidnapping story, it basically goes like this. So like I said earlier, my job is a party host. And so, and the way this is split up is there are two sides to this area. There's the inflatable side, and it has the carts on it and all of that. And that's where the older kids usually hang out. And then there's the side where the younger kids hang out. And there is a party room on each side. So you can have two parties run simultaneously. So I am in charge of the parties on the far side, which is farther away from like the kitchen and where the managers are and everything like that. So we're kind of sequestered in the back. That was fine by me. And there's usually less kids in there. So like, I'm in that back area hosting a smaller party. And there's a kid from a bigger party who was going around and being, how do I put this lightly? A little jerk. Because he would jump out of the inflatables when he wasn't supposed to. Which is fine by me. Like, I'm like, okay, well, dude, you just can't do that because the rules say no. What wasn't okay was that he nearly kicked a kid in the face, like, twice. Because he jumped out without looking first. And so, I talked to him once, and I was like, hey, buddy, you can't do that. And then he just ignored me and ran off. And I just yelled after him, like, no running, because that was a big rule because, I mean, concrete. And, okay, I can't just say concrete without context. Basically, this was, like, it used to be an automotive service shop that, because it was a big warehouse, and then it turned into the kids' play place. And the way they fixed that was by having mats. But not everywhere has mats because that's hard to clean. So basically, there are these large sections where it was just open concrete. So if these kids ran, they could fall face first onto the concrete and crack their skull open, which, as hilarious as that would be... Okay, hang on, really quick side story, right? I'm sorry, my ADHD is kicking in hardcore. But one time, I saw this kid literally who was running on the concrete. He fell face first on it, and I'm not kidding, he bounced. Like as if he were a stick figure, and his head was just a bouncy ball. So he ran, fell forward, bounced back up to a standing position. I'm not joking, I have no idea how it happened, but nobody believes me that this, like, act of sheer cartoon physics occurred. But it did, and it was hilarious to watch. But I'm just like, how do you bounce? What? Because that's not how the human skull works, people. If you haven't taken, like, an anatomy class, the skull's not made of rubber. You ain't supposed to bounce. But anyway, I'm getting way off topic. Back on topic. Right, here we go. I have to burp, but I'm not going to because I'm a professional. Also, I'm spitting all over my monitor. That is really gross. Anyway. Okay. So, anyway, I yelled at this kid to stop running because he committed another crime against the place I worked at rules. Like, he jumped out of the inflatable, okay? I'm trying to spice it up. That's all he did. He jumped out of the inflatable on the side and almost kicked a kid in the face. And that's not okay. So that was like the third rule he'd broken, and then he comes back and he did it another time. I'm standing right there in front of him when he does it. So I literally start trying to talk to him. I'm like, hey, buddy, like, you can't do that. So I start chatting with, like, I start trying to talk to him, and he, like, looks at me, gets white-faced, and runs off. But if he's trying to run from me, he literally chose the worst place to do it, because he runs to the end of the inflatable and around the corner where basically there's only one exit, and it is back past me. So I'm just kind of like, okay, you first of all, you really suck at trying to run, so please never become a criminal because you would just get caught instantly. Actually, no, please do become a criminal, because with the skills like that, the cops would just catch you instantly, and it'd be beautiful, and we wouldn't have to worry about you anymore. But he runs off in that direction, and I mean, okay, he sprints off, and I can take 2 steps and then be there instantly because I'm like I said, I'm 6'2", and over half that height is like the length of my leg, and so I can take 3 steps and be in California from here. It's pretty great. But so I walk after the kid, and I walk around the bend, and there he is. He looks white-faced again, and he starts trying to run up the inflatable, which it has a slide at the end. And so he starts trying to climb the slide, which is yet again another rule that you ain't supposed to break. And so I go to the edge of the inflatable and I kind of crouch down so that I'm not like, cause I don't know, some kids get freaked out by like a really tall person because I just look big and scary. So I crouch down. I'm like, hey buddy, you can't climb that. He turns around, looks me dead in the eye, and I'm going to scream here. This is what he says. Mom! Mom, help! Someone's trying to kidnap me! I am not joking. That is literally what he said. And he starts going absolutely nuts, this kid. And he's screaming bloody murder. Just, someone's trying to kidnap me! Mom, help! Mom! And he's just shrieking. And I'm looking at him. And I look down because, okay, at this place where we worked, we had, like, each of us had a shirt that was basically our uniform. And it had the logo and the name of the company on the front. And then it had a really big logo on the back. I don't know why I just turned around. I'm standing up and I just turned around as if I was showing the camera. First of all, I'm not even wearing the shirt. And second of all, you can't see me anyway, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, so I literally look at this kid and my response is just literally, what? Because I'm like, I get a little hysterical because first of all, I've never been accused of being a kidnapper. And second of all, it was just hysterical. Not in the sense that the kid was having mass hysteria, which I found funny, but also just that was his immediate reaction to having an adult talk to him. And I'm not even technically an adult. I was 16 at that point. And so this kid just starts screaming, Mom! Mom, help! Someone's trying to kidnap me! He's screaming bloody murder. And I'm just like, I work here. I'm literally wearing the work shirt. I am an employee of this company. And I show him, like, I turn around and I, like, point both thumbs at the logo. I'm like, I work here. And so I kind of step back and the kid, like, gets out and sprints past me and runs down the way. And I just yell after him, no running. Because at that point, that's definitely the concern that I have. Because, you know, it's not bad enough that this kid's probably going to go start screaming to his mom that there's a kidnapper on the loose. Which I'm pretty sure is exactly what he did. So I go back to the manager. So I do kind of like the walk of shame all the way back to the kitchen, which is all the way across the building. And I get to there, and I go to my manager and I say, well, can I talk to you? And she's like, yo, what's up? And I'm like, so if a kid comes to, or if a parent comes to you and says that there's a kidnapper on the premises, apparently that's me. I am very terrible, and I am trying to just steal children away from the premises. And she goes, oh, okay. And then I walk off. That was literally like their reaction. I don't know if the mom came up to the manager afterward. I hope that happened, and I really wish I could hear that conversation because that would have been hilarious. But I'm just sitting there going, what? Where did this kid learn this? Like, probably came from his parents, right? Otherwise, he just knew that you can just scream that at any time. But I was just like, so your reaction to me just trying to tell you the rules of the establishment is to scream bloody murder that someone's trying to kidnap you. And I was telling my family this story when I got home, and my brother's like, well, Chris, that's where you put your hand over his mouth so that he can't scream anymore. I'm like, darn it. Why didn't I do that? Would have been so much better than what I did. Which, in case you can't tell, that was sarcasm, because that would not be fun. Besides, we already have enough people locked in the basement that, you know, we can't fit another kid. Anyway. So, but yeah, so apparently I'm a kidnapper, which, now that I think about it, okay, so I worked at this place for 1.5 years, but I also volunteer at a summer camp, like every summer when it happens, and I'm a counselor, I'm a camp counselor, and I'm stuck with kids for like I'm out there with kids for a week. So technically, this summer camp that I go and volunteer at, they technically have a camp counselor that is a suspected or like an accused but never convicted kidnapper as a counselor. Not necessarily something I'd put on my resume, but technically the truth. So there is that, which I just find hysterical. But yeah, that is basically the story of how I'm a kidnapper. I know that that's probably a lot less climactic than what you were thinking, but was something that happened that was pretty cool. Hopefully this video will be releasing on, let's see, what day is it? What day is today? It's Tuesday, right? Yeah, it's Tuesday. So hopefully this will be releasing on Tuesday, and then I might have another video coming out Thursday that is me talking about my DC trip. If not, that'll be coming out Saturday probably. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, if you leave a like, I will tell you more stories about things that happened in my life, because I have a really crazy, stupid life, and it's a lot of fun. So I would love to share all those stories with all of you guys, because I just love talking about my life and, you know, pumping my ego up even more, because it's not as bad as, like, My head can get bigger, believe it or not. For those of you who know me personally, we're not quite at the limit, so it's okay. But yeah, so if you guys enjoyed this video, yeah, hopefully I just kind of made your day a little bit better if you're having a bad day. Hopefully none of you guys are having a bad day, because, you know, a lot of you guys are feeling the stress probably about the quarantine, but it'll end eventually. So, I believe in you. You can hold on a little bit longer. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.